Hey guys, it's Michael here at the Boao Forum for Asia's 2023 annual conference. I'm just taking a small break right now from our coverage of the event. We've been here for a few days, and it's been quite an exciting few days. Really glad to see the face-to-face, in-person meetings because this year is a completely offline event. And I feel those people-to-people exchanges are absolutely crucial if we want to increase mutual understanding in this uncertain world of ours. So, for example, at lunch, I ran into the Foreign Minister of Singapore. I ran into the president of the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, and you just never know, right? When you go pick up some salad, when you go pick up some grilled chicken, you see someone that you haven't seen in a while, you just strike up a conversation. So, having those face-to-face meetings, I think, is absolutely crucial in this day and age. I personally moderated two sessions at this year's BFA. One is about the global economic outlook, and another was about extreme weather events and climate change. Surprisingly, for the Global Economic Outlook session, a lot of the panelists focused on the opportunities, despite the challenges that we see. So, of course, we talked about the challenges in terms of this rise in geopolitical and geoeconomic tensions, inflation issues still, financial stability issues now as well. But our panelists focused distinctively on the potential of the digital economy and green growth as future catalysts for global development and for future global growth, especially here in the Asia Pacific, where the potential in these two areas are absolutely massive. On the extreme weather event and climate change session, last year we saw record temperatures across the world. We had a lot of extreme weather events. We broke several records as well. And we had a keynote speech in that session from the former Secretary General of the United Nations and who is now the chairman of the Boao Forum for Asia, Mr. Ban Ki-moon. So we had the privilege to hear the former UN Secretary General share his thoughts. He is a very strong advocate of more international cooperation when it comes to climate action. I can tell that he's super passionate about this topic, but he's somewhat disappointed, somewhat frustrated that not enough is being done to tackle this existential crisis that we face collectively as humanity, a crisis echoed by many of the panelists as well in that session. For example, today during the opening plenary, the Prime Minister of the African nation of Cote d'Ivoire was saying how Africa only contributes to 4% of global greenhouse gas emissions and yet is bearing the brunt of the climate change phenomenon. That was also a key element in our discussions, that countries who were least responsible for greenhouse gas emissions are now paying a much heavier price compared to other nations as well, and that needs to change. We heard from the foreign minister of the island nation of Dominica in the Caribbean. He was speaking at a session and he really put climate change in perspective for us. He was saying how in a span of 18 hours of heavy rainfall, just 18 hours of heavy rainfall wiping out the entire economic output and the entire GDP of Dominica. So I think that definitely struck a chord with me. One other interesting comment that I heard at the Boao Forum for Asia was a session on security and development. And there we had Dr. Jim Yong Kim, who, of course, was the former president of the World Bank. And he was telling the audience China should maintain its ambition to support development around the world. Now, there's an English acronym called the GOAT, the G-O-A-T, the greatest of all time. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of this acronym. And he said, look, China is the GOAT when it comes to poverty alleviation, when it comes to growth and development, lifting hundreds of millions of people out of poverty. So he said, China is the GOAT when it comes to poverty alleviation. Don't let other countries make you the scapegoat. And that also, I think, really stuck out to me because China has done so much for development for its own people, but also supporting development all around the world. And that's why China came up with the Global Development Initiative as well as the Belt and Road Initiative to support development and to raise people out of poverty and to give them that opportunity to, I guess, succeed in life and have that opportunity to really ensure development can do its part to improve and increase their living standards. So a lot of thought-provoking conversations at this year's Boao Forum for Asia. I can't wait to gather my thoughts a little bit more, do some more reflections on this event. There's some wonderful hot springs here at Boao, natural hot spring waters, very relaxing. So hopefully after our coverage of the event, I might try out some of the hot springs here at Boao and just enjoy the beautiful weather here in Hainan overall, right? I love the lifestyle here. I love the pace here, especially after a rain shower here in Hainan. The air is so sweet. But anyway, I got to get back to work, and I'll talk to you and speak to you all very soon. Ciao, ciao.